Throughout human history, many cultures have viewed homosexuality as a choice. Quoting the famous example of the thunder god of Greeks, Zeus falls in love with Ganymede. While homosexuality was considered only a mild disobedience in Buddhism. Hammurabi, the person who wrote Mesopotamia's legal codes, had male lovers. Saint Boniface wrote in the year 743 that many men had gay double life in England. From Shikhandi to Samba, many instances highlight gender blending. But the Old Testament denounces the homosexual behavior, while some other manuscripts accepted it in some forms. Despite examples of homosexuality in ancient world, people have continued to see it as moral corruption. Both society and religion change with time. They are shaped by the political and economic changes around us. The same is happening with legalizing homosexuality. So, let's find out what led for homosexuality to become criminal offence in many countries. The 12th to 14th centuries saw a sharp rise in intolerance towards homosexual acts. While the reasons are unclear, it is usually related to the Buggery Act of 1533. However, there is no evidence that this act was passed because of any real social issue with sodomy. Rather, it was a political weapon in Henry VIII's battle with the Catholic Church. Let us try to understand why Henry VIII put this law in place. In 1533, Henry VIII had been trying to declare his marriage as void with Catherine of Aragon, to which Catherine declined and practiced influence on the Pope in her favor. Henry also had secretly married Anne Boleyn, who was now pregnant with his child. Although in the eyes of Catholic Church, Henry was still married to Catherine. If the child was born out of wedlock, it would be barred from succession. So, what did the Buggery Act have to do with this? The solution to this problem was to separate the Church of England from Rome, with Henry as the supreme head, which was a difficult situation. So, Thomas Cromwell, who was Henry's chief minister, was tasked with bringing about the solution. A law was passed which defined burglary as an unnatural sexual act against the will of God. The act made sodomy a capital offence for the first time in English law, and was subsequently exported to all the British colonies. It was imposed out of fear to protect young colonial officers going abroad who would be corrupted by these sexual acts. 40 out of 70 countries around the world that criminalizes unnatural sex were once ruled by British, like Bangladesh, Myanmar, Nigeria, Mauritius, and Singapore. The act was introduced in India in 1861 under the Section 377 of the IPC. This law threatened imprisonment and a fine for those who engage in unnatural offences. The legal battle in the country against the repressive law began over 20 years ago, which the community fought in their own ways from long before. For example, in Delhi, off busy Mehrauli Gurgaon Road is a small tomb of 16th century Sufi poet Jamali. Interestingly, he is buried alongside Kamali, of whom officially we know nothing. But legend has it that Kamali was the Sufi saint's lifelong male lover. While legally, Menka Guruswamy and Arundhati Kaju, the two public interest litigators, made strong arguments on how Section 377 should be ruled out so that the LGBTQ community has the right to equality, following which the country's Supreme Court passed a landmark decision to scrap Section 377. Nation after nation has been extending full rights to gay people, and now India stands, at least legally, among the more progressive. Despite this, the world stays divided to restore the fundamental rights of LGBTQ community. While some countries like Canada, Netherlands, Sweden serve as examples for major changes in law and norms. But still, public opinion on the acceptance of homosexuality in the society remains sharply divided by region. This is just the beginning to a lengthy struggle for justice.